I really love the explosive repeat method. Once again, you notice that it kind of falls into different buckets. This is another one where, we're training those fast twitch muscle fibers to be able to regenerate faster. So here what's key is like each rep has to be as explosive as possible. Many times when people do this, they're so used to, so in my small group personal training, when we train, people are a lot of times coming from backgrounds where they might have just done a lot of circuit training, right? And when you do a lot of circuit training, you get fatigued and you can't really produce a lot of force. So everything is kind of at this same intensity. So we do these methods inside of our small group personal training. I mean, of course, in our individual and semi-private, of course, we program completely individually, but within small group, we alternate these throughout the week, different methods. And at the beginning, people are so used to kind of not producing a lot of force because they're used to, 40 minute, 60 minute non-stop beat you down circuit workout, which doesn't develop these different energy systems. So when we start doing them and we do 10 to 20 seconds of really explosive, powerful work with longer breaks, everybody's like, holy shit, why am I so tired from 15 seconds of work and I have a minute rest, right? And I start explaining that it's a different energy system, right? That's not trained. And as they develop them, their conditioning gets better, their strength gets better, their performance gets better, right? So we have to really look into this and understand everything here is built around how the body works, not just a guessing game or just throwing everything into the cardio bucket. That's not what we want to do. So what's key with these is each rep has to be as explosive as possible. There can be no pauses in between reps, right? So I'm going to land, I'm going to load, I'm going to explode, right? I'm right back into it. So then this is how fast can fast twitch muscle fibers recover, right? It's so important. And you've seen probably some explosive athletes that get really, really, really zapped, after halftime or third quarter or fourth quarter, right? But they're crazy explosive, but their gap just falls, right? What I mean by is their top speed to their average speed just drops so much because they don't have this. So what we're gonna do is 1 to 2 series of 6 to 10 sets per exercise, and then 1 to 3 exercises per workout. So to explain this, right? 1 to 2 series of 6 to 10 sets per exercise. So we'll do 6 to 10 sets, and then we'd have 8 to 10 minutes of active rest between. So active rest could be, I'm going on an Airdyne bike and kind of just active rest, where I'm just moving around, I'm not just sitting down and not doing anything. Maybe I'm doing some mobility work in between for those 8 to 10 minutes. And then I do another set of 6 to 10. And that might be my kettlebell deadlift jumps. And then I may do med ball work, or I might do explosive push-up stuff, or explosive, I would say, what are the exercises for that specific thing? I mean, I could do a rotational, landmine punch through. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we could do it. And I do 1 to 3 exercises per workout. And another thing too, that before I go into this, doing it, is how would I progress something like this? Well, let's look at it. Week 1, I do 8 to 10 seconds of work, and then have a whole 60 seconds of rest here, right? Week 2, I might do 10 to 12 seconds of work, so my work period goes up, and my rest period goes down to 40, 45 seconds. I'm gonna cut it down. And then week 3, 12 to 14 seconds of work, and my rest period might be as low as 30 seconds, right? But what we're doing is we're training those muscles to adapt to be able to explosively fire for longer with lower periods of time, right? So I'm gonna do a set of about 10 to 12 seconds here. I'll do 2 sets and I'll speed it up, so I won't do the full break of 60 seconds. I'll do 10 to 12 seconds of work, and then we'll imagine that I'm in week 3 and I'm gonna do only 30 seconds of rest on this one, okay? Cha, 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 cha. Whew. All right, I'll do my 30 seconds of rest. The things I do for you guys. But I think it's important that you see the work being done so you have an idea of how your training session is gonna go. I know sometimes, I'm a learn by doing person, so I dig into the books, I dig into the science, into the theory, and then I gotta do it. I gotta do it myself, I gotta coach people, I gotta be around it, and that's how I learn the most. So that's why I'm trying take you through this so you guys can see it. All right, ready? Round 2. Ta, 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 ta. All right, guys. That's all you get from me right now. It's 2 rounds. So let's check where we're at. About 150, 155 to 160. And like I said, this is dependent also on your conditioning levels. For some people, their heart rate may not come down, which is for a long time, which is why it's important to do heart rate monitoring, and also why it's so important to build an aerobic base, right? So, and starting with, remember we started with the road work, right? We started here talking about cardiac output method. We talked about cardiac power intervals.